We now have the question and answer session. Sometimes I don't understand your accent, so raise your voice so that I don't have to ask you to repeat. Okay? Who will be the first? Yes?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Question I asked some brothers to come here to your lecture today, and they refused to come on the basis that they said that the Sheikh supports Russia and Bashar al-Assad. Now I said to them, maybe you have a misunderstanding, that maybe the Sheikh is saying they are the lesser of the two evils. So,
no, I'm not saying that.
Therefore, maybe can you clarify in detail your stance, please?
Very good. I'm happy that we have this as the opening question. I always turn, the question is my relationship with Russia and my support for Russia. And this is my methodology, I always ground my thought in the Quran. And I invite you to correct me if I'm wrong with the Quran. But if you cannot correct me when I'm wrong with the Quran, you cannot show I'm wrong with the Quran, then I don't need to bother. I don't need to bother. Allah speaks in the Quran about the attempt to crucify Nabi Isa alayhi salam. And he responds by saying, number one, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ, they did not kill him. Number two, وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ, they did not crucify him. Number three, وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ, Allah made it appear that that was what happened. Allah made it appear that they crucified him, but they did not. Number four, Ya Isa, O Jesus alayhi salam, Inni mutawaffik, I'm going to take what? Your wallet? I'm going to take your soul. If Allah takes the soul and does not return it, then you are dead. Oh yes, you're dead. But they did not kill him. So if Allah takes the soul, inni mutawaffik, and we say this in every salatul janazah, وَمَنْ يَتَوَفَّاهُ Allahumma ja'al fi qalb, what is it, the dua? Yeah, وَتَوَفَّهُ مِنَّا فَتَوَفَّهُ عَلَى الْإِيمَانِ. That Allah wants, we asking Allah that He should take his soul in a state of Iman. This is the dua in Salatul Janazah. So, inni mutawaffik, I'm going to take you, meaning I'm going to take your soul, not your wallet. If he takes his soul, then there are only two possibilities. Only two, not three, not four, not five, only two. Either he takes the soul and does not return it, or he takes the soul and he returns it, nothing else. He can't take the soul and then send him to Kashmir. Huh? No, tell Ahmadiyya, go back to school. Tell the Ahmadiyya movement, go back to school. Either he takes the soul and he keeps it, or he takes the soul and he returns it. Surah Al-Zumar. فَيُمْسِكُ الَّتِي قَضَى عَلَيْهَا الْمَوْتِ وَيُرْسِلُ الْأُخْرَى إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. So it has to be that Allah took his soul and returned it. That's why they did not kill him. And then Allah raised him unto himself. وَمُطَهِّرُكَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Not only will I take your soul and raise you unto myself, but I'm going to cleanse you and purify you of what they have done to you. Who? Number one, the ones who rejected him and who declared that his mother did something evil, and the ones who support these people. I'm going to cleanse you of these people. وَمُطَهِّرُكَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And what does he say after that? I invite my critics to spend just a little minute, stop criticizing me, and go to the Quran. Otherwise you'll regret one day for disrespecting the Quran and disregarding the Quran and refusing to study the Quran. What's wrong with you? I am presenting the Quran to you. It goes through one ear and comes out of the other. Don't listen to Imran Hosein. No, that's not the way of scholars. That's not scholarship. وَجَاعِلُ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوكَ فَوْقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. And I am going to cause those who follow you. Follow whom? Jesus, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Do we follow him? No. No. When you're in your grave, the angels come to question you. Among the questions they will ask is, who is your Nabi? Will you say Isa? Well then why don't you wake up? We do not follow him, we follow Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So who is Allah speaking about? I mean, this is simple English. Why can't they understand? I cannot understand why they can't understand. وَجَعِلُ الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوكَ. And I'm going to raise those who follow you. Meaning his ummah. We are not a part of his ummah. Should I have to repeat this 100,000 times? It is such elementary. And I am going to raise those who follow you above those who are committing the kufr against you. And when I do that, it will not be in Qiyamah, it will not be after Qiyamah, nor it will be before that. And when I do that, they will remain in that position of dominance and ascendancy until Qiyamah. Who are those who follow him? I don't need to answer your answer. No. It's not for you to answer. Who are those who follow him? I just have to look to see who are those who are being blessed by Allah. And whether you differ with Allah, you agree with Allah, is irrelevant. Yeah, there are those who differ with Allah. You will see a people who follow Nabi Isa alayhi salam, not this ummah. You will see a people who follow Nabi Isa alayhi salam being raised by Allah to a position of dominance. If you cannot see, I can see. And I thank Allah for that. You can see a people, a part of the Christian world, a part of the Christian world now rising. And there are people who say we will never, never, never legalize the marriage of a man with another man. But you have your Qibla in Washington. You take weapons from Santa Claus and you take money from Santa Claus to go and wage your bogus jihad in Syria. And that's why you don't like me. It's a CIA jihad in Syria. And I am saying so. If others are afraid to say it in Britain, I'm not afraid. Yes. And if they had succeeded in Syria with that bogus jihad, the Christians of Syria would have been slaughtered. It would have been another genocide. Yes. They sabotaged it, the attempt to sabotage it with the Ottoman Empire. And they don't like me to talk about the Ottoman Empire. What are you going to do? You can kill a man, but you cannot kill the truth. Let me say that to you again. You can kill a man, but you cannot kill the truth. I did spend all my life in the pursuit of knowledge for these schoolboys to come to shut me up. Not at all. If you don't want to come to listen to me, fine, there are others who want to come. The Ottoman Empire attempted to sabotage the friendship and alliance between the world of Islam and that part of the Christian world which is going to be raised by Allah. 600 years they tried to sabotage it. They even take the greatest cathedral of the Orthodox Christian world and shamelessly, with matchless sinfulness, disgracefully transformed it into a masjid. Never in the history of this ummah do we ever see this shameful thing. We are told by the Quran to protect it. And you come and you take it and transform it with your bogus legal theories. If no voice has been raised against it, my voice has been raised against it. And Allah's Messenger has said that one day we will conquer Constantinople. And that conquest of Constantinople will come after the Malhama. The Malhama is the great war in which 99 of every 100 combatants will be killed. Sahih Bukhari. The only people who believe that the Malhama has already occurred are those people who are criticizing me. The rest of us know the Malhama has not as yet occurred. It's coming now. And after the Malhama comes the conquest of Constantinople. لَتَفْتَحَنَّ الْقُنْسْتَنْتِنِيَّةِ. You will most certainly conquer Constantinople. وَلَنِعْمَ الْأَمِيرُ آمِرُهَا وَلَنِعْمَ الْجَيْشُ ذَلِكَ الْجَيْشُ. And he praised the commander and he praised the army. And I am saying when we conquer Constantinople, we will return Hagia Sophia to the Orthodox Christian world. We will apologize to them for what we did. And we will take the name of the city for what it was before, return it to the name that Nabi Muhammad ﷺ used, Constantinople. They hate me, they despise me for these words. And my response is, you can kill a man, but you cannot kill the truth. That Orthodox Christian world is there in the Quran, but they can't see it. Allah says in the Quran, and I invite them, come on, if I'm wrong with the Quran, correct me. I make mistakes. And if you correct me, you get barakah for that. But they wouldn't attack me on the Quran. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ, you will most certainly find فعل مضارع at this time and in time to come. أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود. That the Jews are going to be the most hostile of all people to you. This happened at the time that the Quran was revealed, and it's happening again today. And these who are the most hostile and who are brought into being the state of Israel, I made a mistake. 20 years ago I made a mistake. I said Saudi Arabia is a sister of Israel. The mistake is at that time they were not sisters, they were only cousins. Now they're sisters. Now they're sisters. And you taking weapons from Saudi Arabia, you don't have any shame? You're taking state-of-the-art weapons from Saudi Arabia and money from Saudi Arabia, which is the sister of Israel, to wage war, jihad. Don't you have any shame? At that time when the Jews become the most hostile of all people, you can't charge me because I'm telling you what is in the Quran. I'm not breaking any law. If I'm not allowed to preach what is in the Quran, tell me so. I don't have the freedom to preach the Quran, tell me so. At that time, when the Jews are the most hostile of all people to you, there will be another people who will also be hostile. The most hostile. وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. They were there in Mecca at that time, and today it's modern Western civilization. Those who control power in modern Western civilization, waging war on Islam. Oh yes. But then Allah goes on to say, and they don't want to hear it. They block their ears, they don't want to hear it. Don't listen to Imran Hosein. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. And you will most certainly find, at the time when the Quran was revealed, and in time to come, those who will be closest in love and affection for you would be a people who declare, we are Christians. This happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when Abyssinia opened their arms for us. And when the Negus died, the Prophet ﷺ performed Salatul Janazah for him, the Christian king of Abyssinia. When he died, Nabi Muhammad ﷺ performed Salatul Janazah in Medina for him. And the same people who at that time were closest in love and affection for us, today are once more emerging as the people who are closest in love and affection for us. But you waging bogus jihad against them. What is Allah going to do with you? If you cannot see that the Quran is speaking about the Orthodox Christian world, where a man could never marry another man and get a marriage certificate. They don't have chairs in their churches and in their cathedrals. They stand up. Kursi nahi hai. No? ذلك بأن منهم قسيسين ورهبانا وأنهم لا يستكبرون. Surah Al-Ma'idah. You will know these Christian people, 4 characteristics. First of all, they proclaim that they are Christians, so they're not a secular people. They don't hide their Christianity and say our religion is our private life. No. They boldly proclaim our primary identity is our religion. Like Western Christianity. We proclaim that we are Christians. That is the Orthodox Christian world. Number 2, they have Kissisin, the institution of priesthood. On this side, the priest is now in prison, he's a pedophile. The priest has less status than a sportsman. Hollywood actresses have more importance than the priest. On that side, the priest is still venerated and held. The institution of priesthood plays a vital role in the establishment and sustenance of a healthy society, stable society, in that Orthodox Christian world. Waruhbana, they are also a Christian people who have the institution of monasticism. Monasticism is dying in the Western world on this side, the Christian world. The monasteries now have McDonald's, hamburgers and Kentucky Fry and Pizza Hut and bingo halls. And many of them are being sold to become masajid. Monasticism is dying in the Western Christian world. But in the Eastern Orthodox world, monasticism is still the very heart of the religion. They venerate the monastery. They venerate the monastic life. The monk plays a high status in society, which is why Kosovo is so important to them. They know that. Bill Clinton knows that. Daytona, they know that. That's why they did what they did in Kosovo. They know that. وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. And those Christians who will be closest in love and affection for you will not be an arrogant people. It is arrogance to want to rule the world. Western Christianity wants to rule the world. The Judeo-Christian alliance in the West want to rule the world. Yes. But the Orthodox Christian world does not want to rule the world. Rather, the Orthodox Christian world is resisting oppression. Russia today commands respect in the world except with these schoolboys who have been beaten in Syria. And we'll beat them anywhere else they want to fight us. We'll beat them. Waging war on behalf of the enemy. And you don't understand what you're doing. And you would not listen to me. Don't listen to Imran Hosein. Russia today is resisting the oppressor. And the Orthodox Christian world is coming closer to Islam. I have traveled to Moscow. I have lectured in the State University of Moscow. I have been received with respect. And I ended with affection. Do you think that is possible in Washington? Do you think that is possible in London, in Paris? Will they ever invite me? And that's what the State University of Moscow did. I've been to Belgrade, which is the next most important city for the Orthodox Christian world. I've lectured in the University of Belgrade twice already. And I couldn't see it, but my wife was there and she told me. The auditorium was packed. And she said while you were lecturing, they were crying. They were crying. I can anticipate that the Orthodox Christian world tomorrow, insha'Allah, will accept the Quran as the word of God. And I am anticipating tomorrow that the Orthodox Christian world will accept Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam as a prophet of Allah. But they will jump up, come on, take the Shahada, take the Shahada, take the Shahada. Oh, what fools. What fools, how can I ever teach them? Yes, they will accept Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. They will accept the Quran, but they still want to remain in that ummah. And they have the right to do so. And so yes, I am seeing what they cannot see. And Russia is leading the Orthodox Christian world, which tomorrow is going to be blessed by Allah to a position of dominance over this side. And when that is established, it will remain until Qiyamah. Number one, they defeated communism, which was a Zionist plot. An atheist state, the Soviet Union. And out of that iron grip they escaped. And Russia is returning to Orthodox Christianity. And we are pleased with that, but they are not. We are pleased that they are returning to the Christian religion, but they are not. Number two, they ripped off Russia. They ripped off Russia to ensure that Russia, after the fall of communism, will never be more than a third world country. They ripped off the wealth of Russia. They grabbed it. And in a matter of just 20 years, Russia has now reached a position where Russia can say to the United States, if ever there is a nuclear war, we will destroy the whole of the United States in half an hour. And they can't stop it. That's power. 2 years ago, Russia defeated them in the most humiliating defeat they've ever experienced in their Zionist history, when Russia recovered Crimea. The recovery of Crimea is linked with the conquest of Constantinople, which is to come. Again, Russia defeated them in Syria. Yes. And now, because the last pocket in Syria is about to be dismissed, they want to have a new chemical attack and wage and blame Russia for it, so they could send some more missiles into Syria. And everybody knows it's Santa Claus doing it, all of this, okay? So yes, what is there in the Quran is coming to pass. And that part of the Christian world is now being raised by Allah to a position of dominance over this part. And when that happens, it will continue until Qiyamah. I'm sorry I had to take so much time. Yes. Yeah.
You have to continue Surah Al-Ma'idah. You have to continue. لذلك بل منهم قسيسين ورهبان لم يستكبروا وإذا سمعوا ما أنزل إليك مرة. Most of these people, they believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which you mentioned in the Quran. And also, this is what we are talking about, the Christians. And also I'm Egyptian, and I'm living with the Orthodox. Most of the Christians in Egypt are Orthodox. I don't think that in maybe after maybe more than 100 years, they will not convert to Muslims. They hate the Muslims.
Yeah, I am aware.
We know that. We know that.
I am aware.
Living with them.
I'm aware. But I have to say about Morsi, I hope Ikhwan never ever rules over Egypt again. Never.
I'm not talking about
The constitutional sunnah is that Nabi Muhammad ﷺ used the constitution to unite the people in one state. Morsi and the Ikhwan used the constitution to divide Egypt, as Egypt has never been divided. Why? Because of this hatred and animosity and constant conflict between Christians and Muslims. What you should have done, what Morsi should have done, was to wait until you can build an understanding with the Coptic Christians, because they are cousins. These are our cousins. And when you build that constitutional agreement with the Coptic Christian, then you have a constitution which will unite Egypt. He didn't do that. That was the biggest mistake of all. And now you have Sisi, who is even worse, even worse than the Ikhwan. The Coptic Christians, yes, I know about Egypt. But the same thing in the Balkans. The Muslims in the Balkans say, not even in 1,000 years can we ever have friendship with the Orthodox Christians. They're beasts, they're this, they're that, and the other. But look at Russia. You have 20 million Muslims living in Russia and living peacefully and harmoniously. And a large number of them are in the Russian armed forces. And the Russians are Orthodox Christians, so this nonsense about, no, these are our enemies and there'll never, 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 ever be any friendship and alliance between Islam and Orthodox Christianity, my answer is to say, wait and you will see. This is in the Quran. If it is not the Orthodox Christian, then tell me who is the Quran talking about. I am saying it's the Orthodox Christian world. I make mistakes. I make mistakes. So if I am mistaken, tell me who is the Quran talking about. Okay? Anybody else?
My question relating to Brexit. So you obviously...
Brexit.
Yeah. You know what that is? Britain leaving the European...
But that's tomorrow. What is the place tomorrow? Ashwad?
Ashwad and Staines Community Center.
Whatever. You heard it?
Yeah.
Ashwad? Ashford.
And Staines.
Ashford Community.
Staines Community Center.
Come. Tell them. Tomorrow night at Maghrib, I have a very important lecture. Please tell slow for me.
It's at Ashford Staines Community Center.
Did you hear that? Okay. The topic is the Quran, Pakistan's economic and monetary predicament, and the new Imran Khan government. That's the topic for tomorrow night, and it's somewhere close to Slough. Okay? So do please come. Now, Brexit pertains to the economy.
Yeah. So is this going to be hindrance or assistance to the, you mentioned in your talk earlier, the one currency or the government by Israel. So is this is a hindrance or is it assistance?
Did you hear the question? Whether Brexit is positive or negative. Whether Brexit is beneficial for Britain or not. There is an eschatological dimension to the analysis which supersedes the economic and the monetary. The monetary is the euro, okay? The three parts of the shadow. Intalico ila zillin zi thalasi shu'ab. Three parts. And after the 3 parts of the shadow, then of course, there'll be no more shadow. He who was causing the shadow will appear in person. That's Dajjal. This is my interpretation, and you should not accept my interpretation ever until you're convinced that I'm correct, okay? So I say, this is my book, Jerusalem in the Quran, which was written about 18 years ago. I recognize the first stage of the shadow to be Dajjal's Yawmun Kasana, a day like a year. And Britain emerges as a ruling state in the world, Pax Britannica. You cannot offer a political explanation for Pax Britannica to explain why it has emerged. There is no such explanation. None. Pax Britannica emerged out of a vacuum. Okay? We say that this is Dajjal's first stage, and he creates Britain as a ruling state, ruling the seas. There was no air at that time. And then this special relationship between Britain and the Holy Land was established, with, for example, the Balfour Declaration, and General Allenby leading the British Army to conquer Jerusalem, etc. And the sterling pound as the international currency and so on. And then followed the next stage of the shadow, which is Pax Americana, a Yawmun Kashahr, a day like a month. And the United States emerges as the next ruling state in the world. And we say, this is our eschatology, that this is not happening by accident, that there is an explanation for it. And only eschatology can offer the explanation. And that is that Pax Britannica and Pax Americana emerged in order to pave the way for Pax Judaica. They don't understand this in Gaza with Hamas and these fellows. They don't understand this. Pax Judaica could not come into being without a Pax Americana and a Pax Britannica. And so there is a kind of an umbilical cord binding Britain with the United States. Britain doesn't have that umbilical cord in Europe. Britain is more a part of an Atlantic alliance than a European alliance. Brexit was meant to disengage Britain in some way from the European embrace in order to reposition Britain with its primary alliance across the Atlantic. Yes?
As you have touched the topic of Dajjal, I would like to talk about a person who existed at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was a Jewish and later accepted Islam, and other companions were afraid of him being a suspicion of being a Dajjal, and he said, "I'm not a Dajjal." Because
Ibn Sayyad.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your question?
So I wanted to know what was his stance, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't.
He never said, he never claimed to be Dajjal. Never. Never claimed to be Dajjal. There's no evidence he ever claimed to be Dajjal. But Dajjal will say, of course he's not going to speak in English. He's speaking Arabic. He will say, Ana al-Masih. I'm not aware about Ibn Sayyad ever claiming to be the Messiah. Have you got the evidence?
No, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
other Sahaba said, I don't mind being called by that name.
He could not have been Dajjal, number one, because he never claimed to be the Messiah. Number two, Dajjal was sent with a mission of impersonating the true Messiah. That is why he's known as Al-Masih al-Dajjal. Ibn Sayyad never sought to impersonate Nabi Isa alayhi salam. So we can dismiss this without much further ado. Yes?
Regarding the gold dinar, I mean, the recent talk you gave in Leeds, you talked about the situation in Pakistan, about the solution being what Najmuddin Erbakan, when he heard of the gold dinar, said this is the solution. Now, if a country like Russia, which is so powerful militarily, does not take that step, how can any Muslim country take
Already?
that step? Well, they have.
Already?
No, they're making making moves in that direction. but
Russia,
taking that step.
excuse me, while we were eating our biryani and going to sleep, Russia and China was building up their gold reserves. Are you aware of that? Yes. Russia and China now have formidable gold reserves, and they're constantly increasing their gold reserves. Number two, without China, Russia, I don't think, would have had the courage to move forward on the economic front. Russia is powerful on the political front and the military front, but the Chinese are the one who are powerful on the economic front. China has the biggest economy in the world, and China is leading the way in attacking and challenging the petrodollar monetary system. But you don't expect me to give a lecture tonight on petrodollar. And the mountain of gold, the hadith of Sahih Bukhari, okay? I can't do that tonight. China is now challenging, because China has a mountain of gold, China is full with gold, and Russia also. They're confident now. And they have India, and they have South Africa, and they have Brazil with them. And they're now challenging, openly challenging the petrodollar monetary system. What is the petrodollar monetary system? The Prophet said that the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. People will fight for that gold. 99 out of every 1,000 will be killed. Sorry, 99 of every 100 will be killed. And each will say, I will be the ones who will survive. But the believers must not touch that gold. You know this? You know it? You're not shaking your head in slow. All right. There is the possibility of people interpreting the hadith literally. In which case you have to wait for the mountain of the metal, not a little panful, to come out from underneath the river. But we say we have a different way. We recognize this to be mutashabiha, and therefore subject to ta'wil. The Salafi methodology is different. They do not admit the possibility of ta'wil for anyone after the time of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and the Slough, the early generation. And so they're waiting for the mountain of gold to come out from underneath the river. We say, this is our interpretation, and remember, when you make a ta'wil, you must always say, Allah knows best, because only Allah can confirm that you are correct. If we did not have that full stop, the Shia would have been very happy, because they can give all their interpretations and they say this is correct. But because of that full stop, you have to say Allah knows best. We say that in 1974, when the Saudis were duped because they only had peanuts in their head, to agree to Kissinger to sell oil for only USD, the US dollar got out of no man's land. Yes. And became so powerful it was able to fly higher than ever before. Because all the Arab oil producing countries and then OPEC adopted this position, you cannot buy oil except with USD. So you have a permanent demand for that money. Once there's a permanent demand for that bogus and fraudulent money, they can keep on printing. And they did. So an ocean of oil underneath the river began to function as a mountain of gold. That is the petrodollar monetary system. And it has flourished since then. The United States has been ruling helter-skelter all over the world. And also Europe, benefiting from this bogus monetary system. Gaddafi understood it and didn't talk about it, which is why I didn't know what Gaddafi was doing. And when they learned of what Gaddafi wanted to do in Libya, to build a monetary system for Africa based on gold, this is what they did. They used those schoolboys who take weapons and money from Santa Claus and wage their bogus jihad. And today Libya is gone. We all weep except them. They're still laughing and celebrating that they took over Libya. Wait on Judgment Day to see what Allah will do with you. Yes.
So
Wait. So Russia is now, sorry, China is now leading the attack, supported by Russia. For example, China has said to Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis are in a fix. They've not responded as yet, but they're going to have to respond. We will buy your oil from you and we'll pay for the oil in Chinese yuan, in defiance of the petrodollar. But when we pay you in Chinese yuan, we offer to redeem the yuan in gold at the market price. So they're not in violation of the Articles of Agreement of the IMF. Okay? So yes, there are powerful forces at work in Russia and in China, challenging the monetary system and using gold to do it. All that they have not done is to bring gold and silver into the market. But we have to do that because we don't have the power. Pakistan doesn't have the power for China. Pakistan doesn't have the power. Pakistan is chicken feed compared to them. So in order for the Pakistani rupee to survive, and they're going to come after your rupee now, because Imran Khan is not a normal politician, he's a cricketer. Yes, so you're not going to be able to buy him with Saudi riyals, not Imran Khan and his government. So you can expect that the Pakistani rupee is going to be attacked, as the Turkish lira is now being attacked. And if Argentina could bring gold and silver into the market to try to stem runaway inflation, and if Serbia could do the same thing, bring gold and silver into the market to stem runaway inflation, why can't Pakistan do the same thing? Yes. Next one. Yeah.
Well,
did you ask a question already?
No, I didn't.
Not yet?
No,
First one?
I've been sitting there.
Go ahead.
Well, I've got two parts of one question, really.
Two parts of one question.
Yeah, they're kind of linked.
Go ahead.
Right, on your numerous talks, you mentioned about near the end of times, I mean, most of the people, and you advised as well, that try to grow up farms and try to grow your own vegetables, you know, have some more cattle and all that stuff, because near the end of time, this is the only asset you would have. Also, the significance of number 313 as companions when an army comes from east, from Turkmenistan, Afghanistan and that part to help Imam Mahdi. You mentioned about 313 companions.
No, I've never never done that. Must be somebody else, not me. Go ahead.
Maybe I've heard about...
No, I have not commented, and I'm not going to comment on that now, no.
Okay.
No.
And also about that number in the Ghazwa Badr, when companions of Prophet or the Sahaba who fought, they were 313 as well?
I cannot and I will not comment on 313, but I can talk about the first part of your question. Yes. Yes. Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran is a surah of Akhir Zaman. فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَيُّهَا أَزْكَى تَعَامٍ. Go search for that food which is purest. Surah Al-Kahf. Indicating that in Akhir Zaman, food is going to be corrupted. Not only food, everything else will be corrupted. The Arabs are going to be destroyed. أَنُهْلَكُ وَفِينَا الصَّالِحُونَ. Will we be destroyed, she asked. Zainab radiallahu ta'ala. When amongst us there are righteous people, he said yes. Na'am. When will the Arabs be destroyed? إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ. When the world becomes a garbage heap. When the whole world becomes like a garbage dump. Everywhere you turn it's garbage. The money you're using today is garbage. Okay? So the same garbage is taking over the world of food. The hormone injections for the animals. So the hormones are in the milk. And your children drink that milk. And they eat that meat. And little boys are growing up feminine. And little girls are growing up like tomboys. Okay? Worse than that is Dabbatul Ard. Dabbatul Ard is not easy at all. It's one of the major signs of the last day. But it is, in my book outside there on Dajjal, the Quran and Awwal Zaman, I have comments on Dabbatul Ard, where I analyze the verses of the Quran. And I've offered an interpretation of Dabbatul Ard. That Dabbatul Ard appears to me to be something which is going to attack the minsa'a, the staff of Sulaiman alayhi salam. The jasad is holding on to the staff. And so long as the jasad is holding on to the staff and sitting on the throne of Sulaiman alayhi salam, the jinn do not know. Because they're in another world of space and time. They don't know he's dead. And this is an imposter. And so they are up to today, Israel is benefiting from the jinn, the shayateen. كُلَّ بَنَاءٍ وَغَوَّاسٍ وَآخَرِينَ مُقَرَّنِينَ فِي الْأَصْفَادِ. But one day, Dabbatul Ard will attack the staff. تَأْكُلُ مِنْ سَأَتَهُ. Will attack the staff and then it'll collapse. And when the staff collapses, then the jinn will be able to recognize this is not Sulaiman alayhi salam, this is an imposter. And that day, Israel will no longer get the benefit from the jinn. So what is it that's going to attack the staff to consume it? The Quran never talks about termites eating from the bottom of the staff so that the staff will lose its balance. No. تَأْكُلُ مِنْ سَأَتَهُ. Something, the miraculous qualities of the staff is going to be destroyed. Throw the staff on the ground, it becomes a serpent. Hit the water with the staff, and the water parts. Miraculous qualities of the staff. Similarly with the staff of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So long as he's holding on to that staff, they will continue working for him, Dajjal. What it is which is going to cause that staff to lose its miraculous qualities, and which in the process of causing that staff to lose its miraculous qualities will also cause mankind to suffer spiritual suffering, particularly children. Particularly children. So you see declining memory. They can't memorize anymore. Okay? And in the elderly people you see mental illnesses, Alzheimer's, depression, what's it called that? Dementia. Spreading. And I have offered an answer, and I can be wrong. And I invite you who have more knowledge to me, then correct me if I'm wrong and tell me what is it. Something is at work in the world that the Quran describes as Dabbatul Ard. Something is at work. And that something which is at work is going to cause a staff to lose its miraculous qualities. And I offer the answer of the electromagnetic waves, which is coming with this revolution of wireless internet and cell phones and cell phone towers and so on, all around us. And so if you want your children to survive, if you want your children to grow up mentally sound, with the capacity to memorize, to have powerful memories, and therefore to know what is in the past, so you can anticipate the future, otherwise you live at the prison of the present. You have to take them out of the cities, particularly the babies, take them out of the cities. And also ensure that you provide your children with food, which is healthy food and will not contaminate them. Yes?
The Muslims in India, they're finding themselves in a unique and a very, very difficult situation.
Hopeless.
So
not unique, hopeless. Go ahead.
So what should the Muslims, that's because of the rise of the Hindu forces, clearly. So what should the Muslims in that part of the world should be doing to overcome that those evil forces?
Yes, it will be beneficial for you if you can have a new generation of ulama, of scholars of Islam, who have a grounding in political thought and economic thought and monetary thought, and who can penetrate the reality of the world today. Such ulama will be able to reach out to the Hindu world to create a more positive image of Islam in the Hindu world, as we are doing with the Orthodox Christian world now. And we are saying to the Orthodox Christian world, that was not Islam, that came there with a bloody sword to fight you for 600 years and take your women and make them slaves in their harem, and take your boys and convert them to Islam by force, and then they become the elite fighting force of the Ottoman Empire. That was not Islam. That was bogus. Similarly with the Mughals. I don't know whether you have a copy of it, but I never saw the copy of the invitation letter that the Hindus invited the Muslims to come and rule over them. Did you ever see the invitation letter? Did you ever see the invitation letter? Huh? Did the Hindus ever invite the Muslims to come and rule over them? No. We never send an army, never, to attack another people offensively, to conquer their territory. That's bogus jihad. We respond to aggression, yes, if you attack us. Or, if a people are oppressed, and they are crying out for help, and you try to resolve the problem peacefully, and you have failed to resolve it peacefully, then you declare jihad, and then that territory becomes Darul Harb. And those people will then welcome you when you come. And when you liberate that territory, you will not be an occupier, they will not hate you. But all these years of Mughal rule over India, look at the residue. Eternal hatred for Islam amongst Hindus. We didn't invite us, so you have to apologize. You have to first declare that this is not Islam. This is Islamic imperialism. You did not invite us. This is not Islam. We have to apologize to you. You think any Indian will do that? Any Indian Muslim will do that? Apologize to the Hindus? Are we not supposed to do this? No. If you address the Hindu world intelligently, you can separate those whose hearts are filled with hatred for Islam, and it cannot be changed, from those who can be changed. And I don't think I should speak any further on this subject here.
Can you just briefly comment on the significance of the companion of the cave and the dua in relation to facing Dajjal from Surah Kahf?
The companions of the cave were young men. And the message from Surah Al-Kahf is that those who will stand up to resist Dajjal with much less courage and integrity will be the young people. Number two, they had no need to make hijrah. If they were simply eating the biryani and going home and sleep. Yeah. The reason why they had to make hijrah, فَأُوا إِلَى الْكَهْفِ, was because they stood up and they called a spade a spade. If you see something which is munkar, change it with your hand. If you cannot, then change it with your tongue. So that's what they were doing. And because they were doing that, they had to flee. Yes. And when they fled, then Allah protected him. يَنْشُرْ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ مِرَحْمَتِهِ. Allah showered them with His rahmah. Similarly for us, so long as we are not driven out, we take our chance, we take our opportunity to preach, to teach. And we stand up against the oppressor. And when they come after us, well then we pack our bags and we go. That's the lesson from Surah Al-Kahf, yeah. In the back there. All right, Imam, how many more questions?
We'll take two more.
Two more questions, yeah. After this, two more, go ahead. انطلقوا إلى ظل ذي ثلاث شعب. The shadow.
Shadow that's going to come into the world. That's what you.
The shadow, yes.
The ayah before this and the ayah after this.
Yes.
Clearly indicates this scenario.
Yes, yes, yes. I understand. I understand. What I say to you is that my interpretation fits a concrete reality with which we have lived these last few hundred years. However, if I make a ta'wil, I have to say Allah knows best. You must look to see what are the other interpretations of this ayah. As for example, you must do with the jasad. What? Go to all the tafasir of the Quran, all, in all the languages, the classical tafasir as well, and see what do they say about the jasad. وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيهِ جَسَدْ ثُمَّ أَنَبْ Surah Al-Sabah. And then look at my interpretation and see which one you think it seems to you to be the one which best explains the subject. This is the same thing I can say to you about the shadow. Okay? Two more.
This one over
here.
Yeah. Mashallah, your message is very thought-provoking, but the message is going to a very lay audience. So have you got some pragmatic advice that people can take away with them today? Because you quite rightly said eschatology is a very complex subject and it requires many years of study and insight. But a lot of the things you're saying, even though they're quite interesting to hear, they go over the head of many people. So the value of that to the wider audience, it can be lost. So what kind of pragmatic advice can you give?
Well, I have a surprise for you, Imam.
And also, the schoolboys you keep referring to, can you just clarify who these schoolboys are? Are they the non-Muslims or the Muslim scholars that you don't agree with?
Let me give you a surprise. I deliberately refrained from visiting Britain for about 15 years. Okay? And I'm not allowed in the United States. They don't even want me to fly over the Atlantic Ocean close to, But wherever I've gone in the world preaching, and I've traveled extensively, alhamdulillah, I've always received a positive response from the people. But the scholars of Islam seem to be in a state of difficulty when it comes to Akhir al-Zaman. Mostly they will not criticize me, but they will not accept what I'm saying. So they seem to be in a state of limbo. The Salafi, while many Salafi scholars have been very vocal in criticism, there are Salafis who have now become my student. Yes. But when I came to Britain last year, for the first time, I came to see my grandson. I was 75, he was 3 years of age, I was afraid I might die, I've never seen my grandson, I only have one grandchild. And the only way I could see him is to come here. And I didn't know what would the British government do. So I came not knowing what's going to happen. But I had no problems, no, alhamdulillah. And when I arrived here and I met my grandson, then I found an indescribable appetite in this country. You have to be in my shoes to see it. A hunger, a thirst, particularly amongst the young people, for Akhir Zaman, eschatology. And not only have they been studying with me, some of them have gone advanced beyond me now. And I'm benefiting from them. So it's not correct to say that the lectures are going over their heads, because I am finding that they are absorbing, large numbers are absorbed. This is only my first visit to Slough.
That's very interesting, Sheikh, but it can come across quite confusing, because a lot of people are going to leave thinking, not understanding the complete message. They'll understand aspects of what you're trying to say, but because some of the things are so amazing or extraordinary to their normal life that they live day to day, it's going to be confusing.
Once you are going to listen to one lecture and you refuse to study further, then of course you're going to remain in a state of limbo. But not all of them are like that. There may be some of them like that. You know, the biryani people. But I want to comfort your heart that I am in these shoes. and I am traveling through Britain. I'm conducting seminars now. This is the first time I've ever addressed a gathering so big. First time. I usually have small gatherings, okay? And I am amazed, really, at the level of comprehension. And I'm saying a young man going into a Darul Uloom in Pakistan, or in Egypt, or in Morocco, doesn't have a chance to stand up to a young man who was born in Britain, studied here in Britain, who knows Britain. This one has a much better chance of penetrating the reality of the world today over those people. So I'm very happy to be here.
Don't stop coming again.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and if there are some who are confused, they are the minority. They have to stop eating biryani and do some work, inshallah. One more question, Imam, you decide who is going to be, otherwise I'm going to... We could decide now. One more. Imam chose you, not me.
I want to ask, you touched upon earlier on about ilm and ghayr ilm, ilm that you can't necessarily study. And I wanted to know, how would you then, if you're a talib and you're going through the stages of acquiring ilm, when you get to a stage where, how would you recognize?
Good question. Good question, yeah. We spoke about an ocean of knowledge that is externally acquired, using the faculties of rational thought, perception, observation, and so on, burning the midnight oil, studying the kitab, and an ocean of knowledge which is internally received. Then we said, for knowledge to be internally received, you must first have faith in the heart, so you can't be part-time. The glass must be clean and the oil must be there. Then Allah puts nur. Good? All right. If you have the nur, Allah blesses you with the nur, and you've done your homework, and you bring the two worlds of knowledge and you integrate them harmoniously, then you'll be able to understand the world today. I told you that we found this kind of scholarship in Iqbal. Yes, I commend him for that. Iqbal is not the product of a Darul Uloom. No. And we found this kind of scholarship in Iqbal's most eminent student, who was my teacher, Maulana Fadlur Rahman Ansari. So the question now is, the first step on the road to Majma'ul Bahrain is that you must have nur. How will you know that you have nur? Don't send me an email. Sheikh, can you tell me whether I have nur? I'll tell you. Allah sends the message to you in a very private way. He does it through dreams and visions. I have a book at the back there on the strategic importance of dreams and vision in Islam. This is the one part of Nabuwah still remaining in the world. Yes. Nabuwah is comprised of 46 different parts. After me, nothing will remain except one part. Ru'ya Sadika and Ru'ya Saliha. Good? So you are of the opinion that you are the greatest scholar in the world, and you have this big hat, and you have the beard, you have the long gown, and everybody, people coming to shake your hands and shake your hand. Oh, you're a very big man. You're a famous man. You're the most learned scholar in the world. So then Allah sends you a dream. And in the dream, you see that your profession now is to go and clean all the toilets. So the dream is saying to you, this is what you think you are. This is what you really are. See? So dreams and visions are important. In Akhir Zaman, the dreams of a mu'min seldom fail to come true. Did you hear those words? The dreams of a mu'min seldom fail to come true in Akhir Zaman. Sahih Bukhari. So you have an internal private way of knowing. If you have continuous good dreams and true dreams, then you know that you have been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when you wake up from sleep, what do? You recite 2 rakat salat, nafil, salatul nafila, to thank Allah, and you give something in charity. But if you get a dream from shaitan, what do? You wake up, turn your head to the left shoulder, spit 3 times without saliva necessarily leaving your mouth, and do not narrate the dream to anyone, not even to your grandmother. If you narrate the dream, it gets roots and it will damage you. And the third kind of dreams is the one I just pointed out to you. Your own heart is telling you who you are. All right, I think that's enough.